Okay, I was asked to comment on this video, so I'll put a link to it below. And it is about these aliens and spaceships. And until you would have as much information that's crossed my path over my lifetime, you won't really see what's really going on. We have an awful lot of suppressed information that is man-made. I've personally seen a numerous amount of kids that come up with technology that would definitely clean this planet up. And it comes from kids, not from a school system. The school system keeps your mind suppressed. These labeling that we do on our kids, ADD, and all of our children need to be on Ritalin. All of that is designed to suppress our children who are being evolved. They are able to access information that gives them some pretty wild technology. And up until now, we've been, oh, these kids are crazy. We would label anybody with high-level intelligence as somebody with a learning disability because they won't be able to pass the tests in school. When you go into school, they, give you a book and that you have to memorize it and then you have to pass the test. But should you question anything that's in these books, the teachers in my position, which I'm 52 now, so when I was in school questioning these books, teachers didn't know how to respond to me. They actually forced me out of the school system because I was questioning too much. And they couldn't answer any of my questions. All they had was a book that didn't give them the logic to, if you had a question that went against what they said and you had logic, that, okay, answer this. If this makes any sense, answer this question. They were completely stuck. So then also having my own kids in the school system, I know that my kids were really intelligent beings. And mostly because when I was a kid, my parents didn't listen to me. So I thought, well, when I have kids, I'm going to listen to them and see what they have to offer. And my kids have definitely taught me an awful lot about the human experience because, when they were at home, they weren't being suppressed. When they came home from school, the school system all had them in learning centers and all of these labels, which I didn't buy into because it's like, how can you say my kids are smart when they're doing this kind of shit at home? Which I won't get into what they, stuff that they were into, but they're pretty highly intelligent kids. So, a lot of people have developed an awful lot of technology. A lot of technology, like free energy for one. I mean, if you come up with it, if you file a patent within the government systems, as soon as you do that, you have to give a record of everything that you do. This is a way the government can suppress information, is find out what is being invented, what is being created by the patents that you submit. As soon as you submit a patent, they see what you're doing. And then, all of a sudden you can have a mysterious accident or a mysterious heart attack, or they do so many different things to suppress technology. But because they have access to all of this technology and keep it suppressed because it goes against, they're making a lot of money off of oil and a lot of money off the current systems, the current technology. But they also have all of the knowledge of every other technology that's been trying to get out for centuries. So they have been building spaceships. We know that cars can hover. And the shapes of cars that would hover are exactly the same as whatever spaceship that I start seeing. And I do believe that there's a cycle that humanity goes through. And I do believe, in ancient times they knew how to do all of this. How they even build pyramids is not really a secret. It's just a secret they want to keep you hidden from, so you won't know how to build a pyramid, with the tools that we do know that we do have. So I do believe that centuries ago they did build spaceships. And our planet right now is, through religion, through a lot of material stuff. You're programmed to actually destroy the planet. That's what the corporate world is doing. They're genetically creating food, so they're destroying the food. They're destroying the oceans. Look at Gulf oil. The corporate world has this mentality, cost-effective rules, where it's cost-effective to do everything wrong so that you make the profit. Don't, ignore the problems that whatever is going on in the world because we're after the profit. Just ignore how many people it kills, because it's the golden rule is the greater good. Always do what's good for the greater good, which means there's an acceptable death rate with just about everything that we do, and that is wrong. As long as we have one rule that is acceptable, that even one person can be harmed from it, then it's wrong. So today we're seeing a lot of spaceships and a lot of aliens, which they're all man-made. There's no beings from, enlightened beings that are going to save you. That is just not true. You'd have to know a lot of sciences. You'd have to know exactly what the human capability is. And if you know what it would take for us to evolve, what would happen to humanity, what would happen to, the part of our brain that we don't use, what would happen if that all of a sudden got unleashed and humanity actually evolved, then you know how to end all of our wars. Evil is the wars that are going on the planet. So if you are an evolved being, then you know how to end war. So there is not going to be an alien that's fighting over other aliens. They just have taken their problems and gone out into outer space and, figured, okay, let's destroy outer space. But if you are looking at it from, what is the whole galaxy all about? Take yourself out of the galaxy to look down inside the galaxy to see what's going on. Sort of like, if you want to know you're a fish in a fishbowl, you have to sort of get out of the fishbowl and look at yourself to see, oh, you're just a fish in a fishbowl. You have to get outside of the galaxy to look within the galaxy to see what picture is going on. And I don't see too many people really comprehending what that's all about. And so it's like, I would not trust any aliens. They are all human-based. And we've been cloning. We know how to change DNA. We know how to appear like we're a completely foreign race. But that's genetics. That's manipulation. It isn't who we are, but it's who somebody's trying to make us into being. And it isn't an evolved species. As long as you have an enemy, then you haven't got it. You haven't evolved. The evolution of man involves like a world peace. If you don't know how to end your wars within yourself and within your universe, your world, how you experience everything, they have not evolved. They have not ascended. They have no good messages. So there's going to be quite a different variations of all of these spaceships that come up. Very well possibly be spaceships that were from a different, the last cycle of this Mayan calendar, ancient times. There's a good possibility that they have designed spaceships and they've been out in space, sort of like the Star Trek thing where they're out there exploring the universe, and it's like, must have been real boring for them. But they've also had to have multiplied, just like we on Earth multiply, because when we destroy our planet, it's Mother Nature taking care of itself. It's like, if we're going to poison the planet, well, the planet is bigger than us, and it will clean out most of the people that are polluting it. It's like we're killing ourselves. So within 2012, we have the potential to have the Earth actually wipe us all out. But it will clean itself up. There will be a few survive, and then they will multiply until we get to the population we see today, depending on how we live our lives. And that same cycle, has been happening in outer space, that aspects of ourselves have the potential to go out into outer space and, live out within outer space, just like Stephen Hawking says we're humans that don't know how to solve problems. We need to explore outer space. Well, the last Mayan calendar cycle, you think they weren't smart people like that? That did make their own spaceships and out there, and you think over thousands of years they didn't multiply as well? So there's a good possibility that there are more of them coming, but they are still human-based. And sounds like they have enemies too. If they didn't know how to solve our problems last time, and their idea was humans didn't know how to solve problems, let's go out into outer space, then they're not coming here to save us at all. They don't have any more advanced technology than we do, because as time progressed, we always get the same technology. Maybe just a little different painting on the wall, but it's all the same thing. It's all the same game. They are not evolved yet. I haven't seen anybody talk about what it actually takes to ascend. Hearing a lot of people's version of it, but the version is I ain't seeing it yet, and the version is that everybody lives. Everybody has to live. This Jesus concept, I think a lot of people got it wrong, but I do believe that there is that concept. He was like sort of the example, which he didn't die. He ascended. And I'm not saying anybody ascend. And it is a matter of you have to live your life right. And you cannot have an enemy. Jesus never looked at anybody as being his enemy. So that's where I tend to believe anything is somebody who does not perceive themselves to have an enemy of any kind, and actually knows how to communicate with all of humanity, because we are not Jesus. Jesus was our example, and we all have to evolve. All of humanity has to evolve, not just the selected few. Because if the selected few only save themselves, what did that say about their humanity? They're like, sort of like the elites that think that they're special, that they're better than everybody else. Nobody's better than anybody else. We are all equal. So it is a matter that those that, think that they've ascended, they didn't ascend until they take everybody with them. So it is kind of like religion, where you're all Bible thumpers and you all got to get everybody to believe the same thing. It is kind of like that. We all got to believe in the same thing. But it's not about, like, I'm not going to be a Bible thumper. I'm not going to be the guy that says, hey, here's my idea, everybody follow me. It involves everybody having a say in something. It involves, we all have to learn how to communicate effectively with each other, and we all have to listen to each other, because we all have a piece of the puzzle. So it's not like I have the complete piece of the puzzle. All I know is that when we are able to find our agreement with everybody, so it's like wipe everything clean and start fresh by, okay, what is the one thing that every one of us can agree on? And when we find that agreement, then we will find how to connect all of the puzzles together, how to listen to everybody. You have to find out where you're right, and you have to find out where you're wrong. And the one way of doing that is you have to be calm, you have to be peaceful, you can't be judgmental, you can't be critical of other people. Just basically it's asking really, really good questions and coming up with the answers to those good questions. It is a really, really hard thing to try and explain, because it is like you have to evolve before you can understand this stuff. You have to get yourself into a completely different dimension to comprehend a different dimension. It's like you have to be outside of that fishbowl to see that you're a fish in that fishbowl. So it's like, how do you communicate with people that aren't out of that fishbowl yet to see who we are? That's the challenging part. for me anyways. But to me, I think it's the one thing that I think we all agree on is we want peace and love. If that's a good starting ground of, is that what everybody on the planet actually wants, then it's a matter of, okay, how do we make and create, a peace and love for everybody on the planet? That has to be the goal. I think those are the basics. And we don't know how to communicate yet how to create everybody on the planet experience love and peace. There's the challenge. But and the rule, one of the rules that are preventing it is we have these rules. You can't please all the people all the time. It's like you got to get rid of that, and you got to really truly believe there is a possibility, there is a way of making everybody happy all the time. But you have to have that conversation. When's everybody going to be ready for that conversation? I don't know, but that's what we need to do. If we want to evolve in 2012, we want to ascend, you got to talk with your other human beings on this planet to make that happen. Because it's like your enemy is your left hand and you are the right hand. So when you want to ascend, you kind of want both hands going with you. You can't leave half of yourself behind. If that makes any sense at all, that's probably the best metaphor I can give. But there's my take on these aliens, and I'll put a link below to the one that I was asked to respond to. Peace out. Hope it helps.